Now you have a lot of people who at the end of the day, they are denied opportunities because they don't have the experience. And these same people get frustrated. Some get to the point where they believe this country doesn't have any future for it. What next? They want to save up to Japa.
A very wonderful afternoon here in Lagos. Good afternoon, Lagos. Good afternoon, Nigeria. Good afternoon, Africa. Welcome to another interesting episode of Just Africa, your very, very interesting continental show that, spotlights everything that is going on in the continent, ideas, people, policies to help the continent grow fast. And of course, today on the show, we're having a very interesting conversation that, of course, every young person out there, every job seeker will need to pay attention to. But of course, before we go ahead, I will indulge you to follow us on all our social media platforms at Souk News Television. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Just Africa Show. Just look it up. You're going to see us there. See all of our previous episodes so that you can, of course, enjoy the conversation. I won't be doing today's conversation alone. I've got my very delectable anchor to my left, looking very dashing in red. Or maybe Idola. How are you doing, maybe?
I'm good.
You have to do this.
Yes.
Just whenever you know that you're here.
Because I'm your favorite person.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Lagos. Good afternoon, Nigeria. Good afternoon to you, wherever you watch it from, or depends on your time zone. And welcome to Just Africa. You were talking about
young people have to pay attention to this one because it was a feedback from yesterday's conversation that we were having in person, and they were saying, no, we have to bring an expert to come and break this down.
Exactly.
And of course, yesterday's conversation threw open a lot, and we had Chooks John Rogers yesterday, and then he helped us to understand a couple of things. But how about hear it in the horse's mouth? I'm not saying we're bringing in a horse. No, we're not bringing in a horse, but having somebody who understands some of these problems and help us to break it down. I think anybody who's a job seeker, an employer, even a current employee, needs to pay attention to this conversation.
Yeah, one of the feedback I got was the fact that some persons got to understand that, yes, as much as you're looking for people with experiences, you still have to get the best hand. And the best thing was not far from what we
talked about
yesterday. And although there were so many back and forth regarding the whole conversation, but I still understand the fact that, yes, profits need to be made in an organization. The business owner or the employer, as the case may be, wants his business to grow. So there are so many factors looking at it from the employer's angle and from the job seeker's angle. But I think today we are going to find a very good ground on which we can move forward. And of course, I know there are so many employers out there. There's someone also confirmed what you said yesterday when you said that when he said that most graduates are actually trained, or they are supposed to be entrepreneurs, not job seekers.
Job seekers, yes.
Someone confirmed that, and many other positive response came, which we will be giving to our guests. Some of them came from the job seekers angle, while very few came from the employees.
He's got the experience.
So the person here, our guests have the wealth of experience to help us.
We'll try as well to throw you under the bus, though.
Yeah, we're not.
Africa faces a paradox in youth employment. Many young people, and of course, older people per se, seek professional help, and of course, they are eager and qualified, but are locked out of opportunities due to a required experience barrier. This episode explores how this systemic gap affects education, workforce participation, and of course, social economic mobility, and of course, highlights practical interventions to bridge it. Today on the show, we'll be talking about how the job market essentially is. And we've got a very seasoned human resource manager in our midst. In no other person, I don't want to reel out his plenty profile because he says his thing is making me feel nervous. So I've got a very, very interesting person. We share names together. His name is Mr. Emmanuel Oliseh. Welcome to today's show.
Thank you for having me on this show.
So I know I had to put you on the spot. So let me not reel out all your plenty profiles because
being a human resource person is just good enough for it. You understand? So by the time we start letting the people know he's a health specialist and so the profile is getting larger, more questions will begin to come in.
I don't want to show that part to be very high. You know? I don't worry, I like to do that. Anyway, welcome to the show. I mean, it's a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, look, everybody right now is either looking for a new job, transiting from jobs. Especially job is what drives the market,
Yes.
right? But there's this fundamental problem that has always cropped up: job experience. And while it is looking, from the conversation we had yesterday with Chooks, it's looking like it is a good thing, but it has always been a barrier. And we're looking at how this barrier has affected the African continent, especially when it is a demand that a lot of people tend to always add when they want to strengthen their own workforce from their company's perspective.
Yes.
So the first question we will throw to you is, explain to us why job experience is necessary when hiring.
All right, thank you. And once again, thank you for the opportunity to be on this show. Now, there's a thing called job experience paradox. It's a situation where you have a lot of people, young graduates are being churned out on a yearly basis, and these people find themselves in the job market applying to different organizations, and the organizations are not employing them because they don't have the requisite experience. And now you ask yourself, that's where it's a paradox. You ask yourself the question, how will they get the experience if they are not given the opportunity? Now, it's a major problem. Now, I will tell you, it has its positive side and negative angle.
Okay.
Now, the positive side is this. People who are currently in the institutions now already have it in their mind that by the time you graduate, they are going to be requiring for 2 years, 3 years experience. What they are going to do now is gather those experience even while at school. You can actually do that. There are remote opportunities there. You can get trained in addition to your educational curriculum and the rest. So these people are already gathering experience. That's an advantage in one aspect.
Okay.
And then the negative aspect is this. Now you have a lot of people who at the end of the day, they are denied opportunities because they don't have the experience. And these same people get frustrated. Some get to the point where they believe, this country doesn't have any future for me. And what next? They want to save up to Japa. And we have a lot of our professionals, we have a lot of fresh graduates, first class graduates leaving the shores of Nigeria to other countries to work and earn a living. And at the end of the day, it poses a threat to the economic situation of the country. Because the economy will continue going down and down. There's lack of innovation because the people who are bringing their A game, who are bringing fresh ideas, innovation to change the status quo are being sent out on the guys that they don't have the experience. So it's both an advantage and a disadvantage.
So the continent, like Africa, the business, they're losing human capital. They're also losing, there's capital flight because even the talent, we are outsourcing it now because people have to, check the economy and then see why would I be here when there's a person who doesn't need this plenty of wealth of experience. But you touched on something which is not very common in Nigeria and Africa, which is remote jobs while you are in school.
Yes.
I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's not something that we are familiar with. It's very common outside.
Yes.
What we have is internship, and some of this internship many times don't even come with pay.
Yes.
Right? You just go there and offer your services. Why do you think we need to sustain this kind of approach to employment?
Okay, there's need for it because if you look at China and some of these advanced countries from their primary school level, they are already trained to handle tasks, to be professionally inclined. They are already trained practically. They are given practical trainings on different aspects. Now, by the time those ones graduate, they don't need to start job hunting or looking for jobs here and there. They are creators. They have this entrepreneurial mindset from the onset. They come out to create jobs. They are employers of labor. Now, if we have those kind of people who, while you are in school, you are doing some remote job, you are already training yourself up for something. You are grooming yourself for the future, and there are some skills, there are some abilities, innate abilities that you think were not there before that you discover. And by the time you graduate, you are no longer looking for a job because you have already groomed yourself to take over the future of job.
Before my co-host jumped in because she's eager to ask you a question, let me throw this. I'm sorry, I had to throw this in. Is it that our educational system does not prepare our young people to be entrepreneurs?
Obviously, it doesn't. I'm afraid. It
Okay.
doesn't.
Okay, all right. Thank you,
I'll pass
Mr.
it on to her.
Thank you, Mr. Oliseh.
Yeah,
From what you said, we have so many questions actually, but I picked two things from what you said. So the
Yes.
first one is this. You said remote jobs while in school, gathering experiences, and from what our guest also mentioned yesterday, also mentioned some entrepreneurial skills. Maybe while you were at home during the holidays, you helped your mom. Those are your
Yes.
experiences. Now, you are encouraging that while in school, you should be doing some remote jobs. But as for those of you in human resource, when you are putting out the jobs, you also require a student having a certain graduating with a certain grade. For instance, must be a 2-1 graduate, must be minimum of 2 second class lower graduates. Now, a student who is running a business or running an online job and trying to study, how will the person be able to balance both study and job and still come out with a minimum of a 2-1?
Okay, what I said, working remotely, it doesn't necessarily have to be paid jobs.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be jobs in quotes. It can be all these online trainings, for instance, to boost your certification.
Yeah.
It could be, for instance, for somebody in school studying computer science, there are tons of courses online on netacad.com and some other allison.com and some other online platforms that could help boost your CV, boost your whatever degree at the end of the day, making you employable. So you could do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be paid employment. Now, if you have a paid remote job, all good as well. Now, the thing is, the job market or the HR practice is evolving every now and then. So what was the norm like 10 years ago is no longer it now. For instance, there was a situation where I was to hire for a particular role, and it's already stated the number of years experience, the academic qualification and all of that. I didn't have to go through all of that. When I found the candidate, the right person I needed to give that role.
Okay.
In fact, seated in front of me, she didn't have most of the qualification, but I had to give it to her because we look beyond the first class, the second class upper. We want to see, now skills can be trained, can be learned, but character is one thing that's already in it.
Okay.
People cannot really shape your character. It has been molded. Right. But your skills can be learned. So if you come with the right attitude, you come with the right character, we can train you. You don't necessarily have to have 10 years of experience. Okay. So it's no longer first class or second class upper is now the norm. No. When you have the requisite character and you have all the soft skills relevant for the role you're applying for, and there may be 1 or 2 technical skills, we can help boost the others.
Okay, so the second question that I got from what you said was most young people now, they save up. I love the word save.
Yes.
They save up to travel to other countries.
It's called Japan.
Local balance, yes.
When they get there, nobody asks them for job experience, but they get the jobs.
Yes.
So what happens to Africa? If our people can live, because I feel that is why they find it convenient. Many people find it easy. When I get there, you will always get the job without the job experience. What is it that Africa is lacking that is stopping us from operating in that same system that you necessarily don't need the job experience?
Well, I think the major problem with Africa is the fact that there are no policies in place. And the policies that are in place are either weakened or are not well structured.
Okay.
For instance, if you say somebody for entry level roles, the person must come with 3-4 years experience. Where is the experience going to come from? If the person is not given opportunity to
That
work?
is the question.
And then the government too can also come in. Some of these policies, for instance, you could have a situation where young graduates are attached. There's a government parastatals or public and private sector partnerships where people, when they graduate, people after graduation, they go for their compulsory 1 year service.
Yes.
Now, this 1 year service should be structured in such a way that you are posted to PPA that aligns with your course of study.
Okay.
What you studied.
Makes
Not
sense.
posted every time they can have
Yes,
secondary
makes
school,
sense, yeah.
primary school to teach.
Yeah.
Now, if you are posted to where you studied, now that's 1 year experience already.
Wasted.
Yes.
Not in line with what you
That
studied.
is
get
it.
Yes.
Okay, if the person is not posted to
Something that you
That-
studied.
that you
Yes,
Just like you
you are
just
posted
wasted
in
one
1 year. That experience will not count because you are not a teacher. Right? So if you are posted to your course of study, what you studied and you are posted there, of course, that 1 year will count for something. That is one. And then also, government can also do what we call, maybe you can have a skill acquisition centers,
Yeah, vocational
vocational
trainings,
training
yes.
centers, where people, young graduates will go, learn something new, and then while they are learning, they are earning at the same time.
Yes.
They are getting paid, and also it has a way of also helping them
Yeah,
navigate
yeah,
through life.
because
That
we're
way,
actually
you are not. You said sorry.
I said because we were actually coming there to that point.
Yes,
Yeah.
as you are working,
So, yeah.
you are learning, you are
Yeah.
earning.
So
That way.
I think sorry to cut you here, but
Yeah.
I think it aligns because the next question I was going to ask kind of like, so if we do things like vocational training,
Yes.
mentorship,
Mentorship.
internship,
Yes.
and this other one again, I can't just remember, but this kind of arrangements, I will now put it, and then you get paid while you are learning it.
Learning, yes.
Does that solve, at least to a large extent, the problem that we have now in terms of employment gap?
It does. To a large extent, it does solve. In fact, it solves a lot of problems. If you are learning something, you are adding value to your body of knowledge, and then you are earning, no matter how little that is.
Okay.
You know that after earning, your experience level would have increased.
Yes.
Your earning potential or negotiation power would have increased.
Yes.
For somebody that just graduated without any other experience, no experience whatsoever, and then for somebody that's graduated, he already has different certificates from NetAcad, and of course, the hiring manager will want to go for the one that has all the certificates and all the experience. So your negotiation power will increase, and then your employability level would also increase. So
Are there companies that are affected by people who don't have the experience but are working there? Because I want to draw this line. This need for experience. Are there any companies that exist that, because we hired somebody without experience, it affected us?
Yes, of course, there are. The banking and finance sector,
Okay.
they are affected. The media and communication, the health sector. For instance, you cannot just hire a fresh graduate and you say, because you are a doctor, you trained doctor, go and start performing hysterectomy or something. Of course, you understand? There's need for that experience. And you cannot hire somebody to occupy the position of a CFO who does not even have, is not data driven, has not done anything,
you chop your money.
account reconciliation and the rest, and you say you just go, or you will trust that you would do the job. So of course, experience in that regard.
Okay, now sometimes the work experience that is being required of should I say fresh graduates or maybe anyone that is coming into a job, how does it affect those people, the people personally? Okay, better put, let me break it down this way. Employers who want to grow their businesses,
Yes, of course.
job seekers who want to work. How do we come to a leveled ground? Like, this person needs this job. This person wants to grow their business. This person requires 2 years work experience and this person does not have. How do we bridge that gap to help bring more people out of the labor market and maybe at the same time help the business owner?
All right, I'll cite a very good example here. Sir Victor Walsh Oluwafemi. I was opportunity to speak with him some time ago, and then we were thinking about recruiting somebody for a role in ADSC, African Development Study Center, Abuja. And then when I interviewed this person, at the end of the interview, I said, this person has all the, I think this person is good, but does not have the experience. And then he said to me, what do you mean experience? The people that are there, did they come with any experience? And I'm like, wow. Funny enough, the people that are bringing in the numbers there, people that are bringing in the jobs, that are going to National Assembly to get the jobs done, to get
Yeah.
people to come to our training sessions and the development programs, they came in with zero experience. And this is a man who saw them at that level and said, no, I'm looking beyond this level. This person can do X, Y, Z. And he gave them the opportunity. And today they are contributing their own quota towards the development of the organization. So it takes a foresighted employee.
Yeah.
It takes somebody with a foresight. It takes somebody looking beyond the now. The problem with a lot of employers, the problem with a lot of recruiters is we want people that will give us the figures right about now. I'm hiring you today, you are resuming today, start rolling in the millions today. It doesn't always work that way. You can give the person the space of 1, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, train the person, groom the person, and watch the person fly.
Wow. Okay. So you're saying that foresight,
Yes.
intelligent.
Yes.
Now, I'm not trying to downplay certain things here, but what if you bring in someone and it turns out that the person is not what you expected, even after giving in all the support, after investing on the person? Why am I asking? Now, a guest came on the show and said that sometimes before they put in money into a particular or they invest on someone, they know, or when they feel that, okay, well, I'm investing on this person is not getting better, then the person goes. Is it that you just pick anybody? Do you just have to pick anyone that you feel, this person is the one that's going to be the superstar, this person is going to change the narrative? Is it just like that? Or you just acting based on emotions and does it really work that way?
Yeah, it actually does work. If you work with a professional, with HR professional, they are trained to read between the lines. They are trained during recruitment, during interviews. They even what you have not said, they read between the lines. They understand the kind of person you are. That is what their training covers. So where the employer will not see all of this, the HR professional is trained to see them. So an employer may be recruiting and say, okay, I'm taking my chances on you. You get this job done. And then at the end of the day, it's more like a gamble. It's 50-50. Sometimes you recruit and then the people come on board and they exceed expectation. And there are some people that will come on board and they go far below expectation. Now, you're not recruiting just that person, right? Maybe there are other roles that you are recruiting. What about the other roles? The others may be able to live up to expectations or thereabout. But if you employ the services of a human resource professional or your organization have a well-trained human resource professional during the recruitment, they will be able to tell, because a lot of people submit their CVs and then these human resource professionals are trained to scan through all of these CVs and then make some selections, the ones that they feel will align or have the requisite character, skills, and attitude or whatever to thrive in that role. So such people will now be recommended after interview to the organization. If you hire such people, chances are that they will do well.
Okay.
I think you've touched on some in your response to some of the questions, but I want you now to streamline the answers because the question now is direct. How can educational institutions, organizations themselves help to bridge this gap? I know you mentioned some of the things like mentorship and stuff,
Yes.
but I want you to now narrow it down. Well, how can the schools help? How can the offices themselves help? Because not many people even do trainings. I mean, training after your school, because it's still essential. But give us some of the policies that governments, schools, companies themselves can employ to bridge, because this gap is glaring, it's there, and it's affecting the continent. How can we bridge this gap?
Okay, I think I've talked about the government support, how their policies will help. Now let me move on to schools. Now, while you are in school, for a 4-year course, for instance, you have 6 months internship or
Sometimes,
IT,
sometimes. Yes.
Now, school should be more intentional. It's not all about theoretical. For somebody who is an engineer, who is a student, an engineering student, for instance, graduates, and then the roadside mechanic is doing exploits with the cars, and the person who is a graduate, who is trained to do that, can barely fix anything, then it means there's a problem somewhere. So school should get back to the drawing board. By that, I mean add practical approach to the curriculum. For instance, you could say 1 year internship we are posting you to XYZ company. They have one partnership with some of these companies. We are posting you to this, not the students on
Going
their
to
own.
look for, okay.
Because if students go to look for, they are limited. Some will end up not finding any, while some will apply to companies that are not even looking for any. At the end of the day, they are stranded. But if you want partnership as a school, as an institution, and it is calling on all universities, to run partnership with different institutions, both public and private, get these students attached to these institutions and monitor them. What they do is they don't monitor. Even those that go for IT, they don't monitor. They just come at the end of the IT, ask questions, sign. And at the end of the day, people lie and say they did XYZ. Yeah. When they did nothing, they go back to the school with zero experience. So they should be intentional. Schools should be more intentional, add practical approach to all of this.
The theories that they do. Yes. The organizations themselves.
Then organizations do what they call, the reason why organizations don't want to hire people with zero experience is for fear of if this person comes, this person will not be able to perform, or this person will not be able to get this tax done, or this person would take us back by XYZ amount of money, because for every wrong recruitment is taking the company back by some,
Yes.
So what I think organizations should do, they should be more intentional. Now, by being intentional, when you are recruiting these people, first, the person is coming with, let's say, zero knowledge, zero experience, or maybe 1 year experience from NYSC. What you do, we do what they call onboarding in HR, career onboarding body. As you are onboarding this person, you are attaching the person to a professional or to a mentor, to somebody that will now mentor that person in that role. Now, when you go from that onboarding stage to the normal job circle, now you are now attaching the person to somebody that will now really, really mentor the person to a more experienced person. Somebody who has worked in the organization for like 5 years, for instance, and has occupied a certain position and is an authority in that department or that position. You attach the new intake, the new hire to this person and make sure that this person studies this other person and not just leaving the person at the mercy of the mentor. You monitor as HR, you monitor progress. After 1 month, you do what they call check-in, regular check-in. How far has this person been able to tick this box? Has this person been able to achieve X, Y, Z? Write a report. The second month, that way the person will grow. You are helping the person and also sending people out for training.
And I'm sorry, love. There's this other part where I feel maybe, I don't know, you're talking from HR perspective.
Yes.
Everybody that you're hiring are not fresh graduates. How do you now handle the ones that have been trained somewhere else? It has an orientation for somewhere else, and then the person is coming into your own. The person has the experience, quite all right, but is entering a new work culture. How do you manage such people?
Of course, it begins with the onboarding process.
Because you can't attach that person to that's what I'm saying. Like are you
going to attach that to somebody in your own culture?
For example, somebody has 10 years experience. Yes. You are not attaching him to somebody. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you approach such people?
For people who are coming with some level of experience,
yes,
it is expected that they know their ways around. For instance, you are hiring, would I say, cinematographer who has 5 years experience, and then there's another person who barely has 1 year experience. He's a videographer, not a cinematographer. And then the person with 5 years experience should be able to operate this camera, that camera, knows the angle and knows how to troubleshoot and all of that. But the one with 1 year experience or no years, zero experience, does not know his way around. That's the person you can attach to this 5 year. The one with 5 years experience. But the one with 5 years experience, when he comes into the organization, what he needs the most is the structure, the organizational, the modus operandi of the organization, the culture. Once the person already knows his onions on the job, so all he needs to know is the culture of the organization, how they operate, and the person will thrive. So it's at the onboarding stage that you introduce him to the culture, to everything he or she needs to know, not necessarily attaching him to somebody because he already knows.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Oliseh, you've spent so many years being a human resource manager and you understand all this. I want you to tell us one of your success stories where you have employed someone with zero experience, yet the person turned out to be an exceptional staff in any organization where you've worked.
Well, I have a good number. The thing about me is I take a lot of chances on people. I do that a lot. Okay, there was this person, I always say this in my organization, that there was this intern that in my previous organization, there was this intern that came with zero experience. She just wanted to learn fresh. She had graduated for some years, no job was coming in. And then interview, we felt, oh, this person is good. At least the communication, she has the communication skill. And that's all that matters. At least that's the major thing she needs to thrive as a salesperson. And we gave her the opportunity in no less than 3 months. I believe you me, this lady started selling lands worth millions of naira. Billions, as it were, because, of course, it's a high-bow area, Banana Island. So she started raking in the millions and the billions. And as I speak to you, this lady has been to no less than 7 countries within the last 1 year.
Wow.
And she rose from that position as an intern to a manager, sales manager, because someone believed in her and gave her the opportunity. Also, in my current organization, there was this young man who sent his CV and said, I would like to work with your company. I said, okay, let's see. We are not recruiting for this particular role that's outlined in your CV. We need a video editor. Okay, let's see how it goes. And then I spoke with the head of the digital team. I said, okay, this person is coming for interview. Let's see how it goes. And then I interviewed the person. He has all the requisite skills and knowledge. And we said, okay, no problem. But he does not have the experience as a video editor. In fact, he has zero experience. And then I spoke with the chairman. I explained to the chairman of the organization. I said, okay, he believes again. And that's why it's good to work with a boss that believes, that sees ahead. He believes in people and he sees years ahead. So he looked at this, interviewed him and said, okay, no problem. Let's give him an opportunity. This young man is one of the best hands we have now.
Wow,
he's doing pretty much well.
Yes, I love what you said about internship. Now, these interns you talked about, were they paid?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so we have some organizations.
I'm sorry for cutting you short. There's also this other intern who is an OAP.
Okay.
Who came in here with zero experience.
Yeah.
And today, she is one of the best OAPs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
give people
now,
opportunity.
why am I asking about payment? Some organizations feel that they don't have to pay an intern because they believe that they are impacting you with knowledge. We are giving you experience. We are doing this you are doing that and all that. So we don't need to pay you. But these people spend their transport to also come. And that is another discouraging factor I'm talking from the side of the job seeker now.
Yes.
I'm not talking from the side of the organization.
I'm
trying to play the devil's advocate.
Yes.
Now, that is a factor that will discourage someone from learning. You as an experienced human resource manager, what do you have to say about those organizations who feel we don't have to pay you? We are paying you with the experience and the knowledge.
Okay, I want us to, as much as we are looking at it from the angle of the job seekers, we should also pay attention to the fact that companies are there to make money. And when they bring in somebody with zero experience, they also have to spend money training that person. So if they end up not paying for the organizations that honestly they have not made so much profit to be paying you, we understand. But this is where the human part comes in, the empathy comes in.
I'm not saying pay like you are paying the person like a staff. We're not saying stipend, for instance. You
Even stipends,
companies
are struggling now.
So that's what I'm asking.
Okay. I get it because look, different organizations, different policies, right? Some might decide to pay you for your 3 months. Some will say no, unless it is 6 months and above. Different reasons. Maybe they have the budget for it.
Yes.
So give us expo because I promised from the beginning I didn't want to tell you that this I'm about to do it. Give us the expo. When you want to hire somebody,
yes,
live experience now. What are the things you look out for? Because look, some people are watching and they want to prepare themselves for the next job interview.
Yeah.
When you want to hire somebody, what do you look out for other than the experience?
Okay, the first thing that sells you out as a person is your CV.
So we should be padding our CV.
The first thing,
Because right now people use AI to
Yes.
write fantastic, beautiful looking
yes,
CVs.
we've had that cases where we have.
So the first thing is CV.
Yes, we've had a lot of cases where we have a lot of people. In fact, if you go to my LinkedIn page, you will see a post on people having beautifully packaged CV, but zero experience. They
Ah, but you said
that's
that's
the
the
first
first
thing.
thing.
That's the
Yeah, I'm
first
not
thing.
even concerned
That's
about
the first
it.
thing you look at.
It's like what invites you to the door. It doesn't get you in.
Fair point, yes.
So if the CV is well packaged and you come in prepared, when preparation meets opportunity, what happens?
Success.
Success. Now, when you come prepared for the interview, you already know what is expected of you. Of course, the next thing is for the hiring manager to know whether to give you a chance or not. But the first thing, of course, that gives you access to the door is a well-prepared CV. And then again, when you are faced with the interview, the panel, everything, I tell people, everything you do. In fact, I've had to interview somebody that told me after the interview, the final stage of the interview, the person was to meet chairman. That was the day chairman got back from the UK. And then chairman was waiting for the person, and I was not around because I was not feeling fine on that day. That was on a Saturday. And then this person calls me and tells me, is the chairman around so I can start coming? And I'm like, seriously? He lost the job there and then. I had to tell chairman, sorry, this person is not coming for
Yeah.
He said, why? I said, no, he's not serious. He lost the job there and then. So your attitude, even while you are being questioned, your
Matters.
composure, your expression, your facial everything counts. So when you are coming for interview, come prepared. We have seen a lot of people that have the experience. They know their onions, but when they come for interview, they are unable to scale because of character flaws. So come prepared, and of course, the sky will be.
Amanda, do we still have? I don't have 1 minute.
I'm sorry, because this last one that you
Yeah,
just
that is
mentioned,
what
when you said character, I don't understand. What kind of character? Because the truth is, some people abuse different, right? And my face may not tell my inner this thing.
Self.
So
Sure.
when you say you are looking at maybe facial expression, should I always come smiling? If I don't know how to smile, look, and I know my job.
Exactly.
Well, that's where.
No, hold on. Let me just add to it because it's same line. If he is talking about facial expression. I'm talking about fidgeting during.
Yeah, just nervous.
There are
Just
people
nervous
that
is-
are nervous.
Yeah.
Not that they don't know the job. For instance, I always tell people, I'm happy that we have people who are into movies in this organization as well. You don't get the best actors during
Auditions, yes, that's true.
because some are either overacting or they are underplaying the
Nervous.
role. Not that they are not good actors. So I want to bring that in line with what he said. The person may just be so nervous and will not be able to say what he or she really wanted to say. Would you say, because he's not smiling the way you explain? So what would you do?
I think you're getting wrong. Now, here's another twist to it.
Okay.
I'm interviewing you, and you are nervous, right? You're answering the questions, but you are not hitting the nail on the head. This is where a human resource professional will read between the lines and know that you are nervous, and then we tone down. This is my approach whenever I interview people. In fact, there was somebody I interviewed recently. Let me give you a typical example. He was to come in as a cinematographer. So as I was speaking to him, he had already been interviewed by the head of cinematography. And then he got to my turn. I made him very comfortable. I said, this is a friendly chat. So I made him relax. So there was no room for him being nervous whatsoever. I was not asking questions. As he was answering some of these questions, I knew there and then that this person was not ready to commit to this job for a long period of time. So I now asked him, okay, how many years are you giving us? I just want to know. The reason I want to know is so that we'll plan. In case you are leaving so and so time, we'll now make an alternative arrangement. Do what this person said. He said 3 months. He's giving us 3 months. And I laughed. And I said 3 months. I had to compose myself so that he will not. I said 3 months. I said, okay, no problem. So some of these things, we get to this. It's not about being nervous per se. We read between, we change. Once we notice you are nervous,
Yes.
a well-trained human resource professional wants to make you very comfortable so that you will get the best.
Okay. In wrapping up, just in wrapping up, yes. If you were to envision an Africa with this kind of gap,
Yes.
and with all the talks we have done just to fix this gap, if you were to envision an Africa in terms of youth employment, and of course, what would it look like?
Yeah, in the next 5 to 10 years.
5 to 10 years, yes.
What I'm looking at
If we
is
put all these things together, everything has been put in there. 5 to
we're
10
looking at young professionals coming prepared, not coming to be jobless, not coming to be caught in the web of I want to jackpot before I can make it.
Yeah.
People that are coming with their A game, they are coming with all the relevant skills and acquisition or the knowledge they need to succeed in their career or their chosen profession. They are coming with all of it, and they are coming to take over the center stage. And they are coming with, if I get this no, if I get a no here, this other door, I will try this other door because I know what is in it for me. So they are coming with different skills, they are coming with knowledge, they are coming with abilities to take over the job market, not to be idle once they hear a no and then they go and relax. No.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Oliseh, for being, this open to come and take all our gbasgbos that we needed to get clarity on some of this conversation. Well, thank you so much for being our guest on today's show.
Thank you.
Your insights were really, really helpful.
Yes.
And of course, to our viewers out there, we hope that we're able to break some of this. Is it jinx or the paradox? We're able to break down the paradox for you, but I knew the major takeaways would be how to prepare for your next job interview. I hope you learned it, what to look out for. If you're nervous, start to fix your nervousness now. Of course, if your CV is not good, go and get somebody who knows how to fix a CV now. So at least, even if you don't get into the door, let's get into the door.